To quote a certain movie out there that a lot of you movie buffers out there watching are probably quite familiar with, sometimes there's a man, and, well, he's the man for his time and place. That man, in this case, is Mr. Neil Breen, who has once again brought us an absolute beautiful disaster of a movie in the form of Twisted Pair, which we'll be taking a look at today. For those unaware, Neil Breen is a former architect and realtor turned filmmaker who also happens to act as well. How good of an actor is he, you may ask? Well, so good that he stars in all of his own films. After all, Neil is the best at literally everything. I mean, just ask any of the characters in his films.
You're a genius. The best.
Yeah, what he said. And while Neil's talents may be on the questionable side, there is no arguing with the fact that he is, without a doubt, one of the most prolific independent filmmakers of the modern era. I mean, you can hate on this guy, you can insult his acting, his inability to tell stories or coherent scripts, his, again, very questionable decisions when it comes to directing, editing, things of that nature. You can hate on this man all you want, but you can't keep him down. Our journey begins in space. I know, that's a little cliche, but hey, I had to. We then transition to our next sequence as we witness Neil Breen try to create a origin story using some very awkwardly spliced together stock footage.
I have an identical twin brother, Cal. We were raised in a normal family doing all the normal things in life. We were inseparable.
Apparently, the two twin brothers were playing on the beach one day when they got abducted by a Microsoft Paint effect. And just check out these effects. Who needs a green screen or an actual set built when you can just mirror the image on your cell phone? Also, why is one of the Neils so much bigger than the other? Is this guy supposed to be a fucking giant? And so begins a tale of two Breens. And if you thought the stock footage used in his previous two movies were bad, oh, well, he's broken new ground with this one.
To increase my powers. An invention. AI. Artificial intelligence.
But because Breen has no idea how to tell a coherent story, I can only guess that the alien that abducted him gave him a college degree in medicine and then he got a job as a doctor. Because why the fuck is he seen here in a lab coat in a medical setting? We then get to see Neil bonding with a wild eagle that is 100% not just him standing in front of a projector screen.
I wanted to lose touch with the magic and majesty of nature and the gifts it had given me.
We then get to see Neil try to act like an actual human being.
Good morning. Have a nice day.
Using cutting-edge special effects, we now get to witness Cade's true powers.
Follow me. They can't hurt me. You won't get hurt. Follow me.
Yeah, don't even ask me to explain what the fuck is going on because I'm just as lost as you guys. So I guess there's some type of terrorist attack going on in the middle of the city, and then Neil awkwardly inserts himself into some stock footage of some soldiers. Only to leave them behind in the building that explodes a second later. Our hero, ladies and gentlemen, But who needs flying powers really when you have a dope-ass jet to fly around in? Well, at least a stock footage jet with a green screen interior. Next, we get to our first of about 40 subplots in this movie, involving cyber terrorism and virtual reality.
Programmable virtual reality, the corrupt version.
So here's something that would make a fun drinking game for you guys. Watch a Neil Breen film, any Neil Breen film, does not matter which one, and count the amount of times the word corrupt gets said throughout. And take a shot each time it gets said. I promise you, you will get plastered in no time. Next, we cut to a boardroom meeting where Neil Breen attempts to explain AI to us through some very forced exposition and big words.
A crisis. Programmable virtual reality.
We have evidence of the largest cyber and terror attacks ever planned.
Programmable DNA.
This is very serious.
We are on the verge of mind hacking.
Even this guy is like, bitch, you can do better than that. We then see Neil creeping around this college campus at night where he passes by this random homeless guy and his fake rats. He bumps into this woman and then very creepily starts to hit on her.
It's my fault. It's my fault, really. I apologize.
Leave me alone.
Let me make it up to you.
No.
I'll take you out to dinner.
Leave me alone. I have a boyfriend.
Let's have
Get out of my
let's
face.
have a
Leave me
drink.
alone.
Let's have a drink.
Leave me alone.
Let's have
I have
a drink.
a boyfriend.
I'll meet
Get
you
out of my
back here at 8 o'clock
Get out of
and
my
we'll go out and have a drink.
And something tells me this isn't them acting either. Neil decides the best course of action is to follow the woman back to her house and break into it. The two of them have a little scuffle on the couch, and she even breaks a painting over his head.
Bitch. You can't fight me.
But it all turns out to be in good fun, as these two are already acquainted and seem to be lovers as well. I guess just pretending to break and enter into this woman's house is just a game that they play on a regular basis. Seems a little weird for a domestic relationship, but I guess whatever turns you on. All the while, we keep cutting back to this hooded figure that is seen chilling in this abandoned building, and then in the next scene is seen buying some powdered sugar. He then proceeds to go to this random office building in the middle of the night and takes these three businessmen hostage.
You three are coming with me right now. Be
Get out of
quiet.
here.
Get the fuck out of here. You're coming with me now.
You want money?
I don't want your money.
Here.
Take your hands out of your pockets.
We then cut to an establishing shot of somebody's apartment the next morning, where we see the three businessmen tied up in this room. And I know they're supposed to be groaning in pain here, but it just sounds like a bunch of dudes nutting. Then the hooded figure, which is totally not Neil Breen, pops up and holds them at gunpoint, and then these guys just start randomly confessing to corrupt shit that they did. Because in typical Neil Breen fashion, villains always feel the need to openly admit their plans and over-explain them to the audience.
Oh, I knew this was going to come back to bite it.
The stolen cars.
Millions embezzled from charities.
All the politicians we've been paying off.
And uh-oh, it looks like our hero and our anti-hero are finally about to meet.
I knew it was you. Kale. Why haven't you contacted me?
Also, I'm very disappointed that knowing Neil Breen that he didn't put his arm straight through this other character. Next, we cut to a dingy looking hotel room, even though I'm pretty sure it's just somebody's home, where we see bearded Neil Breen, who we now know as Kale, having a domestic dispute with his alcoholic girlfriend.
What the hell are you doing?
Oh. I don't even want you anymore! All I want is the drugs and the money!
Come back here. Straighten up. We're both fucked up.
I don't care. I don't want you anymore!
Holy shit. I mean, you know you've got problems when you can't even pretend to slide off of a bed. Next, we cut to a shot of someone's hand fondling a cup full of diamonds. This is our villain for the movie, Kuz. And while his name is pretty dope, and I rather like his fashion sense, he's a pretty lame and rather unmotivated villain. All we really see him do this entire movie is sit at a table, fondle diamonds, and sell shitty art to dumb people. Also, every time he speaks, it's in slow motion.
It's swarm intelligence, the ability to communicate telepathically.
So Neil goes to Kuz's house to meet him for... and the two of them discuss some business terms.
Ah, so you come highly recommended.
Also, I guess Kuz is apparently Bane and Tinkerbell here, who I'm about 90% sure is a porn actress. So from what I gather here, Kuz is in charge of a lot of the AI corporations and projects that are being discussed throughout this movie's exposition, and he's interested in Neil because Neil apparently can communicate telepathically. Of course, you would never really guess any of this by simply watching the movie, since, as explained earlier, Neil cannot explain plot to save his life. Of course, I guess explaining a plot is pretty difficult when you can barely even craft a coherent one.
Who am I? What am I?
Also, nice fake beard. Who am I? What am I? Next, we see Neil breaking into a college campus again. Don't know if it's the same one or if it's a different one. Not that it really matters. Or we see him creeping down all these hallways. And something tells me he did not get a film permit for this, considering the way he's sneaking around and being all creepy. Also, Neil gets to meet the Blues Brothers. And I almost asked myself, why the hell is he sneaking past them like that if they're just mannequins? But then I remembered, this is a Neil Breen movie, and I should not question stuff like that. Also, Kuz is all of a sudden 10 years older and played by a completely different actor that looks nothing like him.
Of all meta-intelligence, I'm in control.
You're not in control.
In typical Neil Breen fashion, he calls everybody out for being immoral and corrupt, and then makes them disappear. Also, despite getting the shit kicked out of them and being shot several times, the three business dudes are somehow still alive. And then Neil gets pissed off and decides to shoot one of them in the dick. And wait, Kuz is still alive? I thought Neil killed him, or at least made him disappear. Oh, whatever, fuck it. So Neil goes around to all the mills and factories that are run by Kuz and starts setting bombs on them and blowing them all up, which I know he's supposed to be the hero of the movie and Kuz is obviously into some shady shit, but wouldn't this technically make Neil Breen's character a terrorist since he's blowing up random buildings and possibly killing people as well? And once again, in typical Neil Breen fashion, we get the same special effects and the same sound effects copied and pasted over and over again. Also, Neil thinks he's Spider-Man now. Yeah, it didn't work the first time, Neil. I don't think it's gonna fool the audience trying it a second time. Next, Neil Breen has a conversation with his wife, I guess, who I'm about 99% certain has a gun off screen being held to her head while she recites these lines.
I trust you. Completely.
I trust you. Completely. And holy shit, I think he actually killed her for refusing to have sex with his geriatric ass. And I'm not talking about the character in the movie either.
Who's there?
See, Neil, this is why you need to stop eating mushrooms that you find in the forest randomly. Next, we cut back to the homeless guy with his toy rats, where we see this figure with a trench coat randomly pull out a knife and just casually stab it into the guy's kneecap, who barely reacts, by the way. And then Neil tries to prove to the audience once again what a stud he is by having random hot women just throw themselves at him.
Damn it.
I never had a beard.
What? What are you talking
I've
about?
never had a beard.
So Neil's woman decides to follow him around and sees him interacting with this other chick, but Neil don't got time for that shit. After all, him and his cock are extremely busy people. Anyway, she decides to sell him out to this government agent here, who takes a good long look at her ass as she walks away. Unfortunately for him, Breen has supersonic hearing and teleportation powers.
What are you following me for? What are you following me for? You're one of us.
I am.
You're a traitor. You're a traitor. You betrayed us. You betrayed us. You betrayed me.
Well, I guess Neil has found his new favorite word. So then we see Neil back at the same community college campus he's been at like 4 times in this movie already, where he gets attacked and chased down by a SWAT team. Thank God he's got flying powers that he can use to evade them, though. Fucking hell, this man needs to be a part of the Avengers. So Breen walks through this laboratory and does something to a microscope, and then ends up in a computer lab as he tries desperately to escape the campus security.
Justice is served.
Also, he totally almost trips here when trying to get up. Of course, Neil is far too cool to actually run away from an exploding building, so he just casually strolls away as the building behind him begins to blow up. Next, we cut back to Kuz's house, where we see Tinkerbell watching Neil Breen's movie Pass Through on a projector. I actually reviewed this movie, go watch it, it's a really good video. Alright, let's wrap this shit show up. So we cut back to the blonde lady that sent Neil on the mission in the first place, talking to somebody on the phone about how his woman was apparently a double agent or something and tried to betray him. So of course, Neil had to kill her, and the blonde lady apparently feels really sorry for him and wants somebody to go remove the body immediately. Then we cut back to the apartment building from earlier, where we see a bunch of totally not photoshopped police sirens reflecting off of the building, and then some more stock footage of some police vehicles and some do not cross tape. Here we see the 3 bodies of the businessmen who were kidnapped and eventually killed. Like, finally, these dudes managed to survive multiple gunshots and malnutrition throughout several days. And I guess their bodies multiply here. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Symbolism. And better watch out there, Neil. That hairpiece is holding on for dear life. So here we see that despite Cade thinking he has been killed, Cale is actually alive and well as he walks off into the moonlight. Then Kuz's bloody hand fondles his diamonds once again. I guess to relieve stress. I'm not really sure what the hell this is all about. We then cut back to the green screen room, where Neil is seen reconciling with his wife's ghost.
Cade, I will love you for all eternity.
Even though I'm delivering this line like I'm in a porno. So Neil walks off and then disappears in a flash of light, and then we get a title card telling us that Cade shall return. Fun fact, the totally real eagle also gets its own credit here. So that was Twisted Pair, and where does it stack up exactly in the Neil Breen trilogy, I guess you could call it, that we've reviewed so far on this channel? Well, I don't think it's as interesting or as quirky as like Pass Through or some of his other films are. You can definitely tell he is trying to be a bit more grand and epic, almost going for like a superhero kind of vibe here with this movie, or even a James Bond / Mission Impossible kind of vibe. I mean, all of the Neil Breen elements are here. The bad acting, the shitty editing, the stock footage, the horrible green screen effects, the porn level performances, lots of hot women not wearing bras, you know, the usual stuff. Of course, the CGI and green screen effects leave a lot to be desired, looking more like something straight out of Microsoft Paint with these same sound effects and these same explosions being copied and pasted. However, at the end of the day, all of these flaws are pretty redundant, hence why I'm not going to spend any more time picking apart this movie than I really have to, because when you go to watch a low-budget, independent picture like this, especially a Neil Breen movie, you're not expecting much. In fact, I'd say that most people who are seeking out this movie willingly to watch have either already seen clips of it online, or heard of the man himself, or is just somebody that enjoys really bad movies. While I didn't find this one as unintentionally funny or as entertaining as some of Neil Breen's other films, such as Pass Through, I Am Here Now, ones like that, I do have to say I still found myself laughing quite a bit throughout this movie. So if you're looking for a fun way to kill some time, have a good time with your friends, get shit-faced, bring your favorite alcoholic beverage, a bunch of ganja, whatever it is that you use, and just put this movie on and you will have the time of your life. You may lose a few brain cells in the process, but it's all for a good cause, I assure you, to support our favorite film creator, Mr. Neil Breen. Alright guys, well that's a wrap on this video. Please, if you haven't already, definitely check out that Patreon. I'll post a link in the description below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe so you don't miss more fun stuff here on the Movie Buffer. I try to upload at least every week, guys. It doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes it may be bi-weekly. But either way, I will have something out for you guys at least every 2 weeks. So stay tuned for more, and until then, ciao for now.